Good evening, and welcome to Building Bridges, another edition. This marvelous Monday evening, I want to say a pleasant good evening to all of you. Um, Standard operating procedure. You joined us on Building Bridges. Welcome. You now have to share the live stream. We're going to take some time to ensure that we get the most important people here on the live this evening. So you have to share the live stream. Good evening to you, folks. Welcome back to another edition of Building Bridges. I know we've had a pause last week and the other week. Um, we had some technical difficulties and we were not able to come through. You know that Monday evening we had a complete shutdown of the Demerara Berbice interconnected, whatever GPL calls it, folks. And so we were not able to bring you that program last Monday evening. But welcome. I am happy to see Beverly Crandon Hudson. Good evening, Beverly. You have to share the live stream. This evening, we are talking about education, and we're going to touch a little bit on my constituency work covered last weekend. So, Winston, good evening, and you need to share the live stream. Um, Sudari Sukchan, good night and welcome. And Marlon Thomas, good evening and welcome. I would like you folks to do the right thing. Share the live stream. I see Winston says he's watching from Brooklyn, New York. Welcome. Winston, today we're talking about education. I'm going to spend a little bit more time this evening to talk about education. So we need all the teachers. Yes. Rock and come in. Yes. Ms. Barlow, good evening. Um, Share to all the teachers. We want the teachers. We want the parents. How many stakeholders we have in education? Over the past weekend, I heard one teacher refer to education as a four corner love affair, and she said it is the students, it is the parents, it is the school, and it is the community. And I would say, when you talk about school, you talk about the teachers. There are many more because a bigger part of that is the community. So, folks, welcome this evening to Building Bridges. Another marvelous Monday evening. I would like to first, I have a number of things, and I would have said to our folks this evening as I was preparing for the program, I would have said that the write up, it somehow the other sounds so depressing with all of the issues that I have planned that I want to talk about this evening. It sounds so depressing, but hear me, folks. We gotta start. We gotta make a positive start. I've always encouraged people, look at the positives first in life as you go on, and so I want to do that this evening. We're starting October. Today is the 3rd of October, 2022. And October is usually Cancer Awareness Month. It's the month in which we celebrate our teachers, World Teachers Day. And a lot has been happening. And I want to say to you that our teachers, they're hardworking, they're dedicated. And I don't want to put a percentage to it. There's some who would go, off track. And we'll talk about one of them this evening that has went off track. But the majority of our teachers, they work hard, they work selflessly. And I want to say this evening a big thank you to all of our teachers. We've just come out of the pandemic and we've seen the kind of hard work that our teachers, while they were parents and everything else in the background, experiencing COVID, like all of us, they would have, given us their best while dealing with their own personal issues. And so I say a big thank you to all of you teachers. This week, we have started the celebration. I want to say celebration for World Teachers Week. We've started. I've seen, I don't know, should I call names? I don't want to get into trouble. Y'all don't come for me, please. But I've seen photographs from Region 10 and I've seen photographs from Region 6. Perhaps There are other regions who would have done same. They would have started region. They've started World Teachers Week with a prayer, and that is so awesome, folks. Let me say to you, that is so awesome to start off your celebration acknowledging God and all the goodness that God has given to us. Now, let me say to you, while I know I've singled out Region 10 and Region 6, I know that there are others, other teachers who would have done similar in their regions. And I say, kudos to you. Continue to do your hard work. This year, we are celebrating um, World Teachers Day under the theme, The Transformation of Education Begins with Teachers. Can you believe that? That is the theme. That is the theme for World Teachers Day. The transformation of education begins with teachers. Now, let me tell you that our teachers are hardworking and they should be rewarded. And so I'll tell you one story that touches me, and it has come to my attention today because of my list of items I put out um, today, this afternoon. You know, there's a program called the Gold Scholarship. Y'all know about that, right? It's run by the Photoshop lady, Sonia Parag, in the Ministry of Folks. They would have done a good thing by giving some of our teachers the Gold Scholarship. It's an opportunity for teachers to, grasp on. Everybody wants to develop themselves. And so they saw the Gold Scholarship as a good thing. They were awarded the scholarship. But guess what happens? We have some teachers in Upper Mazaruni. Let me get it right. Yes. Upper Mazaruni teachers, they were granted the Gold Scholarship. You know what happened? The Gold Scholarship is an online scholarship program. And Upper Mazaruni does not have stable connectivity, internet connectivity for our teachers. And folks, the Ministry of Education thought, it's a good thing. Let's help these teachers. So what they would have done is to second the teachers to the coastland. Second the teachers because the initial problem is connectivity. They couldn't solve the connectivity. Could you believe that? So their quick fix is seconding the teachers. Now here what's happened. We are celebrating World Teachers Day under the theme, the transformation of education begins with teachers. Do you know currently what they've done to those Upper Mazaruni teachers? They have rescinded their secondment. Is that how we are transforming education? We've just concluded Education Month, and we talked a lot the theme transforming education. And so one of the things that they would have done is to rescind the teachers' secondment. Folks, I'm not a teacher. I was never a teacher. I lectured for a little bit at the University of Ghana. And I can tell you that it's not an easy thing. The Ministry of Education seem not to be able to get it right. And I can't pinpoint what exactly is causing all of this because we know that the Minister of Education is not an educator. And so the concept of transforming education, she has to depend on the specialist to guide her. And I don't want to comment anymore on that. But something is going wrong in the Ministry of Education. Something is going wrong. A simple thing to collaborate with the public service ministry to ensure that the teachers who were awarded the scholarship are able to stay in the region, give them the necessary support, and in this case, it was reliable internet service, and they'd be able to continue teaching, continue with their family, And we will have a success story. We'll be able to celebrate the transformation of education begins with our teachers. We'll be able to celebrate, and everybody will benefit. But a simple thing as resolving reliable internet connection for the teachers in Upper Mazaruni was too difficult for the Ministry of Education to do. I am hoping, I am hoping that the people at local government, because education is decentralized, and so the Ministry of Local Government plays an integral role in the development of education in each region. So while we might want to ask the Minister of Education what exactly is happening, we recognize that there's a disconnect between the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Local Government. And as we go along in the program, you will gather that for yourself. Let me say to all of you tonight that we must pay attention to what's happening in our communities. We must. You know, I have some pictures that you might have seen on social media today. With what's happening in Georgetown or Region 4, Georgetown and Region 4. But this is something that my friend said to me this afternoon. Miss Lewis, it looked like we're moving to Tent City. Could you imagine? And I would ask the operator to bring up those pictures as we continue to talk about what's happening in our schools. Take a look. Take a look, folks. Tell me what you see. You that at first glance is a tent. It looks like the tent that the army, the Ghana Defense Force, would set up when they have outdoor activities. This is East Rumfeld Secondary School. This is Graham's Hall Primary. So one East Rumfeld is in Georgetown. That's a Georgetown district, and education has 11 districts, right? So East Rumfeld is in Georgetown, and Graham's Hall is on the East Coast. Folks, I have to tell you that when I saw those pictures, today I actually saw the one at East Rumfeld, but a couple of days ago I saw the one at, this is inside of the tent, what it looks like. This is the one at Graham's Hall. And I have to tell you, the report I got, the person said to me, Miss, this place hot, 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 even for me to be in that tent. Can you imagine what's happening to our children? Can you imagine that? That is inhumane. By the time 8 o'clock in the morning, you go outside and you can feel the heat. And this is what is happening to our children. Last week, I believe, we saw in the media the tent situation at Maruka. And the same day, the chief education officer and his entire technical team sped away to Maruka on a speedboat to meet with the parents. It is simple. The people needs intervention. Now let us discuss what's causing all these tents. It is simple. The Ministry of Education is attempting to address the issue of overcrowding in our schools. Now listen to me. Overcrowding is a story that is ages old. I know that. It's ages old, but we have never, as a nation, we have never find a quick fix with inhumane situations. We have never treated our children like that. The coalition government, we said we cared about our teachers. We said we are going to take care of teachers and students in and out of school. But folks, the Ministry of Education will tell you that they have a slogan, because we care. That's why they give them the cash grant. Well, show us that you care about the teachers. Show us that you understand the theme for World Teachers Day. The transformation of education begins with teachers. And you're treating them like that? Region 1, Georgetown, East Coast. And I'm sure before tomorrow, I'm going to get another set of photographs where there are tents used as classrooms. Folks, something is definitely wrong over at the Ministry of Education. I am not sure what it is. And I don't know where the Minister of Education is. I've said today that the Minister of Education is missing. She's missing in action. All these things are happening under her watch. Perhaps I'm wrong. Let me just say that. Perhaps I am wrong, folks. Perhaps I am wrong tonight for saying that the Minister of Education is missing in action. But is there a statement that was issued to the Guyanese people that the Minister of Education is overseas on official business for a prolonged period of time? Is there a statement? Do we know who is the Minister of Education acting or has the responsibility for the portfolio right now? Do we know? Perhaps I am wrong because I didn't see the statement. But you folks can comment. Marlon, you can comment and tell me that you would have seen the statements, Tell me what's happening. And Randy said she's dancing with the president. Folks, that's another situation that we have to deal with. How is it tent in a hot sun, no proper ventilation, no proper seating, and that's how you're accommodating our students? That is your quick fix to overcrowding in our schools? So let me tell you the story in this oil producing nation. Grims Hall is very unfortunate. Grims Hall is in that situation, right? It's very unfortunate. Let me say to you that Grims Hall overcrowding has been a while now, right? And so Cummings Lodge Secondary, I believe it's a secondary, they've had an old building. Grims Hall identified it. Ministry of Education fixed it. It's operational, and they were using it. And then Cummings Lodge decided, oh, we have an overcrowding situation, so we will need our building back. And the Ministry of Education says, of course, it's your building, you must have it, you must utilize it. So Cummings Lodge Secondary has, gotten a new wing, refurbished, that is. And so the children at Grims Hall and the teachers at Grims Hall, they are left to be using that tent outside there. Now, I'm not going to say much about the East Ramveld because that only came into my desk this afternoon today. But I want to say to you, y'all remember Multi, North Ramveld Multi? Y'all remember there was a fire there? Y'all remember the other day when I asked a question in the National Assembly about when this school is going to be rebuilt? Shortly after, we saw Priya and the contractor doing their regular PR thing. In that report, I learned that it's going to take the contractor a year. So we're not going to see the completion of that school perhaps still in the latter part of 2023 or probably 2024. Now, they don't have the space. Do you understand? The school that is opposite, and I want to give you that visual. North Rumveld, if you're going to the East Bank, North Rumveld is on your left hand side. Rumveld Secondary is on your right hand side. It's just a crossing over of the road. So the two schools serve the community and its surrounding, right? When I passed there this afternoon, there is a bigger tent. I think there are more than one tent at East Ramville Secondary School. We ain't got no shame. This oil producing nation where we spent billions of dollars on cricket carnival to allow the president to go disgrace himself, a Muslim president. Let me call him out. Let me call him out. And believe me, I know they will come for me, but I'm prepared. I called him out with his 19 fraud charges in the National Assembly in February, and by July, I was suspended. And that's fine with me. Because the Muslim community, they campaign that they want a Muslim president, and they got him whining down at the stadium, taking back ball and all kind of thing. But you can see none one of them come out to say, oh, that is unacceptable behavior of a Muslim person. Unacceptable behavior for a national leader. I haven't seen a statement as yet, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I am more concerned at this point in time, not with his behavior. He will, God will talk to he about his behavior. He knows better. He playing politics. I am more concerned with the amount of money that was invested in cricket carnival, and we have our children in the goddamn hot sun. You hear? And this ain't got nothing to do with the color of their skin, because I keep saying to you, one is at Graham's Hall. You know the population of Graham's Hall. And I'm seeing one at East Ramville. You know the population of East Ramville. So this ain't got nothing to do, in my opinion, racism, right? They're not discriminating here. This is strictly 100% incompetence. This is corruption. And we got to call it out as it is. Folks, I am being made to understand that Priya made a statement. And let me read it for you. You know, she's a nice lady. She said, this morning, she said, best wishes for a beautiful and successful high school life to all the grade 7 Forest Farm children turning out to high school for the first time today, to new friendships and experiences, to new lessons and pathways, God's richest blessings and all my love. Well, Lord, have mercy. Y'all see why I tell you I shout the country? Y'all see why I tell you I pray out the country? Prayer frolicking. She frolicking. I can't tell you where she is at this point in time, but she frolicking. And wishing our first formers a lovely time in school and great experiences. Folks, their experiences is going into a hot tent. Gosh, this is so embarrassing, Paulette. I agree with you. This is so embarrassing to the Ministry of Education. This is what we have resorted to. Tents. I am embarrassed for them. But let me hear. Let me tell you something. Mahendra Rampasad, you should be on the stage dancing with Irfan too. Y'all look like the same kind of people. But folks, let's get back. Let me not be distracted by Mahendra Rampasad. Andrew will deal with you later on. I want to get back to where we are tonight, talking about education. Our first form students are going in for the first time in secondary schools, and they're going to be seated in those hot tents. Pass by Graham's Hall tomorrow, and you will see that tent. Pass by East Ramveld Secondary School tomorrow, and you will see those tents there. It's the same thing. That is how disrespectful, that is how disrespectful this government is to our nation, to our children. You know what's happening at St. John's? St. John's is on Waterloo Street in Georgetown. That's another Georgetown issue. They have similar overcrowding. Overcrowding. So let me tell you what is the St. John's situation. They're grade 7. Remember, Priya said that they're going to have lovely experiences. Let me tell you about the grade 7 of St. John's. St. John's grade 7 students only has 2 days per week school, since they have to wait. So they have a rotation system going on there. But guess why they're on a rotation? One, overcrowding. This is the new grade 7 coming in for the first time at St. John's. And guess what happened? I was made to understand. Perhaps somebody can tell me, call me and tell me, or message me, go in the comment section and tell me that the Ministry of Education is awaiting furniture from overseas. So we're not creating a local economy anymore. We're not giving the ordinary contractor to make our furnitures anymore. We're importing furniture now, right? So this current grade 7 has to wait on furniture. In the meantime, they are going to be in school for 2 days a week. And during the 2 days that they're there at St. John's, they're only going to do 4 subjects. And I rather suspect it's the core subjects they're going to do. Folks, I want to pause. I want to pause. Something is wrong. There cannot be. I served at the Ministry of Education for a number of years under the stewardship of Evelyn Hamilton as the chief planning officer. And I'm calling out the chief planning officer because in my mind, this has to do with planning. This overcrowding is something that head teachers know about. Every term they report on it. How is it that the information is not getting to the chief education, to the chief planning officer? How is it that the permanent secretary doesn't know that we need more schools? You know? Something is wrong. The incompetence is at a high level. I mean, in any organization, you would have one or two where you have to fix. But this incompetence is at the top. I'm not sure who's after Mrs. Hamilton would have proceeded on retirement. She's on retirement a little while now, and somebody took over there. I'm not sure who that person is. But this seems to be a planning issue, you know? And if the Ministry of Education doesn't feed the information to the Ministry of Local Government, something is wrong. The data comes from the Ministry of Education. How are we forecasting for our students? We know we are doing exactly the number of students leaving the secondary school in fifth form, so we didn't give them the cash grant. A lot of people don't know that the fifth form and the sixth form students, they never received the cash grant. So we're forecasting well when we don't want to pay. But to make adequate accommodation, for our children is suddenly a huge problem. Something is definitely wrong, folks. It is not all hullabaloo that the Minister of Education wants us to understand. And let's move on. We're going to say at this point in time that our teachers using those tents are uncomfortable. At least those are the reports I got. I'm going to say to you that the students are uncomfortable. And folks, I might as well tell you, and you probably all know, that something is going on with the children in school. I've received a lot of reports where students are getting sick and they are having flu-like symptoms, and they're being sent back to school. So the parents are sending back to school. Teachers not doing anything. And then a large number of students are complaining of feeling unwell. That is something that came across my desk last week, and I meant to follow up on it. Folks, if you guys have more information on that, please let me know, because that may very well turn out to be a serious issue for us, another health issue. Janice Archibald says head teachers are expected to have a 5-year school improvement plan, but the bureaucracy is real. And I can appreciate that, Janice. And Janice is commenting from Region 6. But moving along, folks, moving along, I've underscored that the Ministry of Education, the current, the current leadership can only be described as incompetent. And we're seeing it with the actions that have taken place in our schools. That's only one area of incompetence. Where is the money? Where is the money? Good evening to you, Honorable Coretta MacDonald. She says the hypocrites have been banging loss of contact hours now. I wonder what they will call 2 days attendance. It's a shame. The minister don't know she heard. The minister don't know she heard from she foot and she could cuss. All she could do is cuss. Good evening to you, Honorable Member of Parliament Coretta MacDonald. Good to have you on Building Bridges here in the comment section. Miss Grant from Region 5 says, yes, they're coming down with something which starts with a headache, then a sore throat, then fever and pains about their body. And Miss Grant is in Region 5. Folks, I was talking about complaints I got in Regions 4 and Georgetown. I did ask a question. Where is the money at the Ministry of Education? We know that the Ministry of Education received the largest budget from August 2020 to now. And I see in the comment section the money is going towards building apartments on the East Coast. Certainly, it's something that we will want to investigate and find out whose apartments we see on the East Coast. But, folks, moving along the program this evening, I have been made to understand, and I've investigated the last Building Bridges program I had 2 weeks ago. I would have raised the matter. Sorry, my apologies. I was on Advancing the Cause last Wednesday talking about education and what's happening, and I addressed a particular matter. Remember, we talked about education in peril, and I asked the question, do you agree? So we talk about the physical infrastructure in the school. And now we're going to talk about the teacher. Most, if not all of you, know by now that there's a male teacher at Hope Secondary School on the east coast of Demerara who would have sexually assaulted a 14-year-old child. I have an update to give you at this point in time. It is alleged, it is alleged that while the teacher was sent on administrative leave, it is alleged that a senior person in the Ghana Teachers Union, who happens to be a pastor, was sent to the school to deal with the matter. The teacher is a member of the union. But you know what subsequently happened? After the involvement of that pastor from the executive of the Ghana Teachers Union, the parents of that child went to the education department to tell them that they don't want a problem with teacher, but their child was sexually assaulted. I want you to understand what is happening here. I want you to understand. It is a society that we live in where money, where money can be used to silence some of us. Do you know the kind of trauma that that child suffered and will continue to suffer If the parents decide to take the position that they have now taken, I don't want to believe. The report I got today, I don't want to believe it. But the people at the education department in Region 4 can confirm whether the parents visited that office and whether they have given such instructions. I made contact with the commander's office, and I wouldn't say anymore. Today I was told that the child is 14 years old and the child attended a lesson in Enmore. Sir, it lives in Enmore and he gives lesson. And this person was explaining to me, sir, I don't really teach. He's a good teacher, but you don't teach in school. He's teaching the lesson. So everybody just want to go to the lesson. And that's where the action took place at Enmore, at Sir Lesson. Folks, it is shameful. As parents, it is our duty to protect our children. As adults in the community, it is our duty to protect our children. But you know what? On this program, on all of our programs, you will get credible information and you can fact check what I am saying tonight. Sir is also a master trainer at the Ministry of Education. Sir is a regional counselor on the RDC 4. And Sir was responsible for sharing out. I'm looking for a photograph, a proper photograph, to bring on building bridges to show y'all what Sir look like. You know, some of us got to stand up. We got to protect our children. We got to protect our women folks. We got to protect our teachers. And those of us who feel, it's okay to take some money here and turn the other side. Kim says, calls our name. Kim, you want to come for me? Kim, you want Anil Nandalal come for me? Because we were made to understand Anil is the man protecting, sir. I plan to call Anil tomorrow, though. We can have a different conversation. Yatunde Grant says that parent has no feeling for their child, only hope he doesn't become yet another suicide statistics. And on that note, I want to offer my sincere condolences to the parents. I think it's the Gordon family who would have lost their child, a third form St. Joseph High School student who committed suicide. I believe it's over the weekend. I offer my sincere condolences. Today we saw that family picketed the school. Yet again, Minister of Education, how do you care? How do you care for your students? I've said to my colleagues that to all end, I will defend the teachers' rights. I will stand with them. But I'm hearing some terrible stories coming out of St. Joseph High School. For almost 18 months, I've been hearing story about the head teacher's weak leadership and alignment with the Ministry of Education, sorry, the Minister of Education and the big boys, the installed boys. And I said, you know what? Let me see. Sometimes you got to verify what's happening. And this weak leadership, mm-mm. Something is happening at St. Joseph's. I have a 14-year-old child, and I can't tell you that I know how the family of that child feels. Because we entrust you, the teacher, the head teacher, the management and staff of our schools, We entrust you with our children. And so when you receive our children at 8 o'clock in the morning, it is your responsibility to take care of them as we would at home. And some of us really don't care. It is so sad that little Gordon, young Gordon, thought that suicide is the answer. My 14-year-old told me of what she learned, and she was, you know, very sad. She said, Mommy, there was an allegation that a phone was lost, and the teachers embarrassed the boy. That's what the Joseph children are saying. My child doesn't go to Joseph. They go to another school, but children, they do talk from across school. So she was relating to me. And so the allegation is that the teachers at St. Joseph High embarrassed this pupil. And that wasn't all. On Friday, I believe she said, that happened on Thursday. On Friday, the students of St. Joseph High School, a group of them, jumped him. Well, that's when I'm learning that jumped mean they beat him up. And he was further embarrassed by his peers in school. Folks, something is wrong. Something is wrong in our education system. Perhaps you guys can share some recommendations for the Ministry of Education, because I've said umpteen times that for us in the coalition, while we outline what the problem is, we're not going to stop there because we have a vision, and so we will give you the recommendations to fix the problem. But you think we're going to listen? The whole education month finish. Nothing in schools to build the morale of our children and our teachers. Nothing. Who's going to do it? You want the Ministry of Health to come in the schools at Ministry of Education to do it? You got to start it. You got to initiate those initiatives. And Kim Walker says, Natasha, what is going on with the children at the bus park? I saw in the news where a boy was beaten by a gang and is now dead. Kim, all of that happens. I saw a video over the weekend and I'm trying to locate it. I'm sorry I didn't save it. I have to deal with it. It's a situation at St. John's. You know, St. John's is a troubled school, right? Of a student cuffing another student in the head. And the student took to social media. I saw the video posted and I read the post. And I'm not sure why I didn't save it. Folks, if you guys would have seen that video and the post from the student at St. John's, please tag me in it. Send it to me. I need to investigate that matter. The student is saying that he's not only humiliated by his peers, but the teachers. And that's because he has a different lifestyle and he's not straight, as the teachers would have said to him. They only teach straight students. That's a whole other program. We got to have that conversation. And Norman is saying, if Skellybang is their role model, sorry, Elroy is saying Skillybang is their role model. And Norman is saying, suffer the little children to come unto thee. And I think that's a Bible scripture. Folks, let me say to you that I said from before that we have a lot to discuss today, and I will go over program time, Mr. Operator. I will go over program time. Just bear with me this evening. I have a lot I missed last week, and I'm trying to make up for it. Education in peril. Where is the money? Why is it our school is so dysfunctional? Teachers are not doing what they're supposed to do. They're treating our children uncaringly. I don't know what was the word to describe the Joseph situation. I want to say good evening to MP Nima Flubes. I know you're hurting. Little Gordon is one of your students, and my condolences to you. I see Honorable Maureen Philadelphia is on. Welcome. I'm happy to have all you folks viewing here. But, folks, I have to give you some other information. My heart bleeds for what is happening at education. I can tell you that is just incompetence, it is just corruption. And those are issues that can be fixed with the right person at the helm of education. All of that can be fixed. We didn't have these issues being treated like this under the coalition government. Point to note, overcrowding was always an issue, but we never treated our teachers and students like that because we respected them, because we cared for them. But folks, you know, we've often say that as members of parliament, we will bring the issues to you. And one good way to do that, we have to go on the ground. I was in on the East Coast at Haslington a few months ago in April, and I have a video to play for you. I usually go wherever the people call me and tell me there's an issue and they would like my help. I usually go. Wherever it is, I go and I verify for myself and I try to take action to ensure that help is provided. Operator, I'm looking for that video with the lady from on the East Coast there. She has a special plea for us. Um, I visited in April at Haslington and I met Chanel Thornhill. And I'm waiting for Chanel's video to come up.
Hi, Miss
Perhaps,
Natasha.
operator,
Pleasant good afternoon to you.
take a listen, folks.
This is Chanel Tornil. I'm just seeking some help concerning my legs and my sight. Lost my legs due to diabetes a year ago, and now the sight is telling on me. And it is very costly because to go and get medication over to the polyclinic, I have to get taxi to and fro. And to do the therapy for the prosthetic legs, that's in Georgetown. It costs more than the polyclinic. I'm a single mother of three and I'm seeking assistance from the public for my legs and my sight. Anyone wish to help me can contact me on 666 4310. Thank you.
Thank you, operator. Folks, that's a story that is close to my heart. I first spoke about it on Below the Belt a few days ago. And let me tell you what the story is. Chanel would have said that she is a single parent, she has three children, um, and she doesn't really have any help. I've visited her. Where you see that photograph, I was standing outside. I went to check out her story myself. So Chanel is in a wheelchair. She's lost both legs. And I can't tell you how difficult that is. But Chanel lost her legs because of diabetes. And that's no fault of hers. We wrote the Minister of Human Services. And I knew, the government doesn't care. So I said, Chanel, I'm going to prepare this letter for you. Take it to the Minister of Human Services. Folks, today, Chanel is still waiting for a response from the Minister of Human Services. However, subsequent to all of this, she reached out to the Ministry of Health I am very grateful that Chanel called me today to say, Miss Lewis, you know the quotation that you helped me to get from the Ptolemy Reed Center, because Ptolemy Reed has the ability to produce these legs for her. It's $560,000 for both legs. And the Ministry of Health has called her to say that they have processed her claim, but they would only be able to give her half of the money. And folks, that's why I am here tonight. I can tell you a little bit more about Chanel. Diabetes has taken a toll on her from since I met her in April to now. She's had to do an eye surgery. She can't see properly in both eyes. I'm not sure I know the correct disease, but it's as a result of diabetes. Some good folks were able to give her money, and she was able to do one eye at a private clinic. And she has been referred to the Georgetown Hospital from since July. She will get her first appointment in November. And they will try to see when they examine her if they will be able to put her on a list to get the other eye. But that's another issue. So her eyesight is going as a result of diabetes. She has lost her both legs as a result of diabetes. Folks, it's a genuine case. It's a genuine case. Chanel has put up her number there. If you didn't get it, you can go back to the slide and get it. But you can also reach out to me 615-8917, or any on this program here. You can just message me and I'll contact you. Right, operator. Thank you. I see Chanel says her number is 666-4310. Chanel is a genuine case that needs help. And folks, any one of you, Chanel lives in Haslington on the east coast of Demerara, and she would be very grateful. I visit Chanel, and she is such an easygoing person. She's happy for life. She's thankful to God that even though she doesn't have her legs, she still has life. And that I admired about her. And I would also urge you, in whatever way you can help, please help Chanel. So thank you. Folks, I want to continue with my program, and I have a few minutes left, but I must tell you that over the weekend, I would have visited a part of my constituency in Region 6. Myself and a team would have visited on the East Bank. I remember MP Ganesh Maipal said to the Private Sector Commission that a few of the NDCs did not receive their money for the cleanup. And Jerry Govaya said, list the NDCs and send it to us. I know the Honorable Maipal would have written to the commission. I haven't seen a response as yet, but I decided I will pay a visit and see what's happening with the NDC that is affected in my constituency. And that is the Ms. Operator, can you bring in our guest who is from Region 6, East Berbice? So he would help me. It's the Platanka NDC. Welcome, my brother. Assalamu alaikum.
Good night to your
I
viewers.
I'm not hearing you, Kirk. Can you speak up a little bit?
Assalamu alaikum, sister. I'm very happy to be on your program tonight. I heard all that you were saying earlier, and I can attest that what you're saying is more factual than opinion.
Yeah. And Kirk, yourself being a teacher, um, before we go into the situation in Region 6, I'd like you to share your comments because I know you have a number of years of service in the Ministry of Education as a teacher. Give me your thoughts, your opinion on those matters we would have raised.
Yeah, Natasha, it's a pathetic situation at present in our education system. I have seen our system degenerate
Yeah,
in just 2 years. I recognize that it is not what we all expect
yeah,
as citizens, as parents. our students are affected, our teachers are also affected. And when you find that those two important components of the education system is being affected, well, then we recognize or we grow to appreciate that the system is on the downward trajectory. I am a teacher for over 30 years, and I just can't
Wow.
wait to get out of the system because the system is continuing to decline. You know,
Wow.
today our grade 7 students came out to the new school. Lo and behold, there isn't adequate furniture for those children.
Yeah.
Later in the day, I recognized that a private company had been given a contract to supply table and chair to accommodate those children. Other teachers
Wow.
from other secondary school also called me to tell me it's a similar trend at their school. Now imagine
And
we had budget for the commencement of the year, for the entire 2022. Why have the
mm,
Ministry of Education, why have the Regional Democratic Council put those systems in place, knowing that the grade 7 students will be attending school the new academic year starting today?
and that's why I tag this as a planning issue, Kirk, because I know that the head teacher has to submit these numbers to the education department. Education shares it with the region, and so proper planning has to be done at the regional level and at the local government level and at the Ministry of Education level. And somehow or the other, we seem not to have it sorted after 2 years. Priya was very happy to talk about learning loss while in the COVID, and Irfan went to the UN and tell them about the equitable distribution of resources in the education system. A whole pack of lies. But Kirk, like you, I know that there's senior education officials who have said to me, I'm not waiting for 55. I am going before because I can go before with my benefits. And that's just the sad reality. What's going to happen? Another 4 or 5 years down the line, we're going to have a serious problem in education. But the Minister of Education issued a Facebook post this morning, welcoming the children of grade 7, and what a lovely experience they will have. I hope you don't have tent city in region 6 too. That seems to be the going thing in region 4.
We don't have the 10 city, but accommodation is a problem. Now, how
Furniture.
can you give 10 pairs of furniture for approximately 130 students?
Oh wow.
You know,
That's what's
and
happening in
then,
region 6.
yeah, that's the reality, and people have to, the general public have to know these things.
Yeah.
Parents are to be aware of what is going on, because I know that
And
head
I'm
teachers would not parents that they have to walk with furniture because that is against the policy of the Ministry of Education. But the Ministry of
yeah,
Education needs a plan to ensure that accommodation is adequate for the students.
yeah.
I
And
know the
a
region have,
parent from I'm seeing a parent from Kanji is saying, I'm appalled that the furniture that is sent to the school are so poorly finished. Can you imagine these same students watching foreign classroom and our students still sitting on some chairs that pulling at their uniforms? How
that's the
could
sad
that be?
reality. That's the sad reality. If you look at how they were constructed, you recognize that I don't know if it's a carpenter or it was a butcher
Hmm.
that did the work. You know,
Yeah,
and it's come
I
back
know.
to having the right set of people doing the work that they were expected to do. Instead of giving it to
Absolutely.
friends and family, look for those persons with the requisite skill to get the work done
Yeah.
properly. I know many of
But
the
the people
furniture
with
would
the
not
requisite
last
skills
a
are
year.
sometimes not the friends and family, because we're coming up to that friends and family thing. Operator, there's an audio that I'd like you to play for us. I spoke to some farmers while I was on the East Bank yesterday, and I was able to share some concerns. If we can get that audio, and Kirk, I want you to. I know you were from Platanka coming down. You would have spoken to the farmers. Um, Operator, can you play that for us? I'd like Kirk to give me his opinion on what's happening
machine.
there.
The
Region 6,
machine, you
East
get
Bank.
dozer. They're doing
Here it
all
is.
them private work. If you now, I think if you when you pass them, you see a dozer should be on the road by
That's
now.
a bulldozer?
Mm-hmm. And high max, they're doing work for private people. And when we ask, they say what can do for private people. When y'all been in power,
When the
the
coalition was
machine
in power, yeah.
can do work for private people. And the same government machine now doing work for private. The same machine.
Who are they people?
Yeah, they're doing work for people. And the machine working at the back there right now, the man is the chief engineer for the region, right?
Yeah.
And they getting the work done. If you can see a machine, when you pass it by, you can see a dozer. There is a government dozer. Right now they're pushing them down.
So were you saying the government machinery is used by the chief engineer
Of
in Region
course.
6
Right.
to do
Private
private work
Private work.
on the East Bank?
On the East Bank, you can see the machine when you pass it. You can see the kind of
Which area is that?
by the coca. You see it.
What was the
You see
village
those there?
name?
There's, well, it's between Lighton and Highbury.
Between
But
Lighton and
I
Highbury.
depend on the same machine now to do some work here. But I know if I gonna get it because the machine going away back to the me to understand the guy and do some work now for the vice chairman. Some kind of work, you know, if it was rice work or what kind of work.
So government machinery is being used for regional officials' private work?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying to me?
That's what I'm saying.
And other people.
Oh my goodness.
Right? And and also who's political member, they get the supporters, they get in. You look, they hire machine to, and pay. And if me tell you something, you see most of them contract where see passing it, take a little time and find out.
Yeah.
Zulfikar, them who get in contract. Most of them contract, you see. Yeah.
Yes.
You see, Zulfikar.
Yes, I was at Platanka just now, and coming down, I stopped about 4 places and I talked to the guys who are using the machinery up there, and I'm having a sense of what kind of work they're doing and who they're doing the work, but what they're not telling me is if it's private contract or who's getting the contract and if it's subcontracted to them.
Some of them at the work, some of the work, they're doing it smartly. They put the high-end private and giving a contract to do the same private work. And some of the work, some of the same government machine doing private work. If you look somewhere along the line, you will see some container or 2 containers there at the roadway there. Good. Them there is doing private work. Them there's private contractors.
I saw
What they
that,
hire
yes.
doing. No, there's private. Yeah, there's how these people are moving so smart.
But
Right?
you know that's wrong, right? So wrong, folks. That is so wrong. Operator, bring back my guest in, Mr. Kirk Fraser. Share your experience. That was overwhelming for me yesterday.
That's not overwhelming. That is the reality of what happens in Region 6. The government machine, what would happen is that they would give out contracts to private contractors. And then instead of the private contractors completing the work, the government machine is used. And it therefore means that the contractor, I don't know how they do it, but the contractor get the money. They sign off the contract. Government machine and fuel is paid to do this, is doing the same work that a contractor is paid, and the money goes to the boys. So there is corruption at all levels. And what the farmer is saying there is the fact. Nothing he would have said is incorrect. I visit the East Bank very regularly. And that is the reality. I know when we were in government, we had said to them that the machine is to help all residents along the East Bank and not a few. If you look at Lighton, for example, they were doing the front drain or the road drains. In certain community, the drain was dug, and in other community, it was left back. An example is Lighton, for example. Highbury and all those areas, the machine worked there. When it reached Lighton, it stopped working there because we have two
Because
different
that's
Guyana.
discrimination. We have to tell the people, some things are not clear for everybody, especially the people. Not everybody would have taken a walk or knows on the East Bank what it is. But let me say it to you: if you won't call me a racist, that's fine. But I have to give you the facts. Highbury area is predominantly East Bank, and you would have heard Mr. Fraser says in Highbury area the drains are dug and so on. And then you go over to Lighttown, that is predominantly Afro-Guyanese. They skip those areas and they move on. And so, folks, I wanted to go there myself and see and bring the facts to you. And that's what we will do, bring the facts to you. At some point in time, you will have to make a decision. And that is the PPP government is bad for Guyana. Incompetence, corruption, discrimination is high on their agenda. That farmer just spoke freely of what's happening on that. Additionally, he talked about the orange plant that is being distributed. Only some people get it. He spoke about the farmers' cash grant, people who didn't suffer any loss. They were given millions of dollars. I can't. The audio is too long for us to play here. But as Miss Evelyn is saying on the comment section, it's happening across the regions. But folks, we have to continue to tell you. Operator, I want you to bring up the pictures with the bridge. That's another situation. Two other situations I want you to comment on, Kirk. A bridge and some a particular area on the quarantine that seem to have a light issue or a road issue. I won't say more, but operator, can you bring up the bridge? Let me show our viewers what's happening there. Kirk, tell us what's happening here.
Well, that is a bridge that leads to Platakabak Dam. And that
Yeah.
bridge is being done by the government of Guyana. The farmer said to me yesterday that the material, if you look at it properly, you see that the material that is being used there is substandard material. The farmers
Yes.
complain if you look at the whole section of the bridge, you would recognize that it was done with green heart. The new section that is being done now, it is being done with Moro, which cannot withstand um, a long lifespan. So in a few years or probably a couple of months, they will have to do back the same bridge that is under construction. Imagine this
Mhm.
project is being done. The residents are not aware of the cost for the project. The contractor works when he feel like working. So all of those are issues that people are asking, why can they have some amount of transparency whereby they have copies of the bill of quantity and they try to ensure that the work is being done to what is required by the contract, but everybody's type tip, you know and they
Yeah.
come and work when they feel like and go away. And if you don't look carefully, you'd find that some of these same old materials would be used, and then the contractor go away with the entire money without the residents benefiting. You know, and
Absolutely.
that's real tough. Some farmers said to me yesterday, they're so frustrated is that they feel that they need to stop farming and probably look for greener pasture overseas because it can't compensate them for the work that they're doing. You know, so that's
Listen to me. Kirk, if you don't if the government is unable to fulfill its mandate, which is to provide the facilities, the public facilities for the communities to utilize so that they can have a decent living, then something has to be done. They got to get rid of that government. And folks, this is not the time to hide behind a camera. This is time to tell this installed government that you mess up. I know some of y'all in Region 6 who would have said, give them a chance. You did give them a chance. And look what is happening in Region 6. We would have seen huge sums of money going to Region 6 and Gaisupu and other areas. But Kirk, that what you're saying there is correct. The farmer is saying only some people will get it. You know, an interesting thing another farmer said to me is that, Miss Lewis, you got to understand this thing. These people come here with the voters list and the tick off name that these people get money, right? But then people they get no money. But how do we verify that Tom Jones in Platanco collected $250,000 when there is Paul Jones in Platanco, but he collected zero? How do we get that data from the Ministry of Agriculture to show the world that yes, the Ministry of Agriculture is transparent? They give 40 farmers on the East Bank. One got 1 million, one got 2 million because the damages vary. Where do we get that information from in the name of transparency?
I don't think you would ever get such information because everybody are tight-lipped when it comes to these things. Even the
Yeah,
contractors are complaining about the amount of persons they have to give money, to ensure that they get a contract. And when they receive the contract, the list is so long that they don't even make a
yeah,
profit,
yeah.
So there's a level
And
of corruption.
folks,
That's
there's
why
another situation in Region 6 that I would like to ask Mr. Kirk Fraser um, to comment on. Operator, if you can give me the photographs with the Kirk, what is this? A road, a street? Tell me the story. Operator, you need to give me the other photographs too.
this area that you're
Tell me
looking
what's
at,
happening.
this area that we're looking at here is an area in number 19 village.
Number
It is
19.
alleged, it is alleged that a senior government functionary is doing some business at the back there, right? If you
Mm,
look, you'd recognize that a road is being built to
okay.
accommodate this investment. Electricity,
Mm-hmm.
high level electricity poles were planted by GPL to reach down to this place that the investment is being done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the electricity that is being implemented, that is being put into the area, as well as new roads are being put in to accommodate this economic venture of this government functionary. But if you should go
Yeah.
back to 2019, right? The people
Mm-hmm.
is Bank of Berbice. After Cadbrat, there is no electricity there. The coalition
Yeah.
government promised the people that they would give them electricity before the year had ended. You know the problem with all this no confidence motion and
Yeah.
so on,
Yeah.
and then the government hadn't had any money to spend and so on. So
Yeah.
from the 19th to date, the people from Lighttown going all the way to Platanka, that was the first phase that was supposed to be done. The hardware for the electricity is in the area, but to date, those
Mm-hmm.
persons cannot. It's 2 years, actually 3 years. Poles were
Yeah.
planted, lines were pulled, and all of that, and people still cannot receive electricity. And for this investment of this senior government functionary, took probably weeks to get this done. So
So
you're
Kirk,
seeing that,
you are drawing the comparison between the road at Cuthbert where um, a number of families live. The
yeah,
infrastructure is there, but no lights for them. But this is a
no,
new project.
what I'm saying is that there is road and electricity in number 19 for this senior government functionary. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, average Guyanese who need electricity, who need road, cannot receive that.
Mhm.
So what I'm trying to say, these people are more
Absolutely.
self-centered. They don't care about the
Absolutely.
ordinary people and how they live and improve the standard of living and all of that. They care
Yeah.
about themselves. So
I
that is the
see.
next I need to draw from these two things that we're looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. MP McDonald, your friend Barrett, what's his first name? The guy at Natural Resources. His name is being called. Come on, MP McDonald. You need to talk to your friend, your member of parliament friend at Natural Resources there. We can't have those kinds of things happening in Region 6. One set of people, friends and family, benefit from big projects, and the ordinary citizens at Cuthbert still waiting for their electricity to be connected because, as Kirk is saying, the infrastructure is there. The coalition government promised the people electricity. We put the infrastructure in place, and after the no confidence motion, a lot of people don't know our last budget in government was in 2018. We couldn't connect the lines, and so we see friends and family, MP McDonald, friends and family again. This time is in Region 6. Your friend Vikram Barrett name calling MP McDonald. We need to investigate this one. Folks, I want to say thank you to our comrade in Region 6, chairman for PNC chairman in Region 6. Kirk, give me your closing remarks before we leave.
Well, Natasha, all I like to see is equity across every community. When you're in government for all the people, and not some of the people or party people. You're
Yeah,
you're having a responsibility of improving the lives of the citizens. You would have promised them that. And that is why
yeah,
probably some of them would have voted for you. But unfortunately, what we recognize is that it's not about the people, it's about individual and groups of individual. So it
yeah.
looks to me like the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And
Yeah.
this is affecting the ordinary persons. Public servants would complain daily about their plight in terms of cost of living and all of that. Nothing is being done. But you have a few people who are enjoying the wealth of this country at the expense of the ordinary people. And I think that this needs to change. When you're in government for all the people. Every community should benefit. When we were in government, every community could say that the coalition government would have done something for them. But in this period, we find that the reemergence of red villages and green villages, some are progressing and some are regressing. And we can't run a
Yeah.
country with those type of ideology.
Thank you
So
so
in
much,
closing,
Mr. Kirk Fraser. Thank you.
in
I would want to ask you, isn't it time? Isn't it time that the coalition goes back into power? I believe it's
well,
more than time. What do you say?
it's more than time because when you interact with the ordinary people, they're recognizing that the government is not about the ordinary people, and they have great regrets that the coalition
Yeah.
government is not in office. They would have seen more progress under the coalition government. And I know that
Mhm.
whenever election is held, it would be a referendum for the people. They would
Yeah.
choose the government who would look into their interests. And there is no other government other than the coalition government.
Absolutely. I love that ending. Thank you. There is no other government that will benefit all of the people. Thank you so very much for that closing, Kirk. Thank you so much.
And thank you
Folks,
very
that's
much,
all the
Natasha.
time. Thank you, Kirk. That's all the time we have on Building Bridges this evening. Understand that the information you get is factual. You can double check it. You guys can go down to Region 6 and the 19 road, the quarantine road there, and you will see the new infrastructure in place to accommodate that big project. You can drive on the other side, New Amsterdam, going to the East Bank, go up to Kortbrat, you will see. Let me tell you, I drove yesterday all the way to Mara, and that road is horrible. The road up to where the coalition stop is done. And to continue now is one hell of a trouble to get there. Actually had issues getting out. But folks, let me say to you, Jolyn Thompson, listen to me. We got a lot of work to do. The coalition, when we get back in power there, we have a lot of work to do. We got a lot of things to fix. This government is breaking the infrastructure of our country. The moral fabric of our society is deteriorating. We've seen that full display over the weekend. You know, Cricket Carnival didn't do anything good for Guyana. What it did was fill the pockets of the wealthy folks in the PPP. That's what it did. The friends and family benefited, and the moral fabric of our society deteriorated. But folks, this is all the time that I have left with you. I want to say thank you. I want to say take care of our children. I want to say congratulations to all our teachers. Y'all know that I have one role model teacher that I can really call out at any time. Janice Archibald, I love you. Thank you for staying with me, especially during my years when my struggles were real. They're different now, and they're still real with me, but I would always remember you for standing by my side as a student coming up. Folks, this is the time where you find that extra penny in your pocket and you reward your teacher for good behavior, for taking care of your children. And folks, the ones who are not doing such a good job, encourage them. Like that one who sexually molested that boy in Enmore, I think something needs to happen. You know, justice needs to play its role there. And I want to say thank you to all you folks. I've gone over my 1 hour. I'm into Sharon's time now. You have time to take a break, go take a bathroom break, get your Coke and your popcorn, jump over to Sharon in the ring. Let's talk about the elections petition, what has happened there. I'm sure Sharon got that queue up. You know, there's a little bit of hope. You have to have hope that this coalition is going to return to government. When we get there, we have a lot of work to do. There is hope for us, folks. Thank you, and I'll see you again next Monday on Building Bridges. Stay safe. Have a good evening.